The sound of champagne popping echoed through the lawyer's office as my fiancée celebrated me signing the prenup. She actually took a selfie with the bottle and posted it on Instagram with the caption "Our adulting. Smart couple vibes." She had no idea that the struggling entrepreneur she was marrying was actually worth $750 million. For months later, when she finally discovered the truth at a charity gala in front of 500 people, she got on her knees in our living room and begged me for another chance. But by then, it was far too late. This is the story of how my wife's greed cost her $749 million. And trust me, the karma in this one is absolutely perfect. My name is Darius, and I'm 42 years old. I'm a tech entrepreneur, though most people who met me would never have guessed it. I made my fortune 3 years ago when I sold the software company I'd built from scratch. The sale price? $850 million. After taxes, I walked away with about $750 million. But here's the thing, I never told anyone about it. I lived modestly. Drove a Tesla Model 3. Rented a nice but not extravagant penthouse in the city. Wore clothes from Nordstrom, not Gucci. Lived a comfortable but deliberately understated life. Why? Because I'd learned a hard lesson in my 20s, when people know you have money, they treat you differently. They want things from you. They see dollar signs instead of a person. So I kept my wealth quiet. Told people I ran a consulting businesses helping tech startups. Which was technically true, I did some consulting work. But it was more of a hobby than a necessity. Then I met Victoria. Victoria was 28, stunningly beautiful, and had about 300,000 Instagram followers. She was what they call an influencer, posting about fashion, lifestyle, luxury travel. She made decent money from sponsorships, maybe $200,000 a year. We met at a charity gala 18 months ago. I was there because I donated $10 million anonymously. She was there because one of her influencer friends had gotten her an invitation. She approached me at the bar. We talked for hours. She was charming, witty, beautiful. I was smitten. We started dating. For the first year, things were good. Great, even. Victoria seemed genuinely into me. We'd go to nice restaurants, take weekend trips, spend lazy Sundays watching movies. But I noticed things. Small things. Like how she'd get quiet when her friends posted about their luxury vacations to the Maldives or their new Birkin bags. Or how she'd casually mention that her friend Jennifer's husband had just bought them a $5 million penthouse in Tribeca. Or how she'd scroll through engagement ring photos on Instagram, showing me rings that cost $200,000, $300,000. But I loved her. Or at least, I thought I did. So after 14 months of dating, I proposed. I bought her a beautiful engagement ring. 2 carats, excellent clarity, from Tiffany's. Cost me $50,000. To most people, that's an incredibly expensive, generous ring. But when I proposed, I saw something in Victoria's eyes. Just for a split second. Disappointment. She covered it quickly. Said yes, kiss me, posted the ring on Instagram with heart emojis and excited captions. But I'd seen it. That flash of I expected more. Her influencer friends had bigger rings. 3 carats. 5 carats. 10 carats from their investment banker and tech CEO husbands. And my ring, while beautiful, wasn't that level. I should have paid attention to that moment. But I didn't. I was in love. Or in denial. Probably both. 2 months before our wedding, my lawyer called me. Darius, he said, we need to discuss asset protection. You're getting married. You need a prenuptial agreement. I knew he was right. I was worth $750 million. I needed protection. But here's the thing, Victoria didn't know I was worth that much. She thought I was comfortable. Maybe worth $5 or $10 million. She knew I owned my consulting business, had some investments, lived nicely. But she had no idea about the tech company sale 3 years ago. I'd never told her. Never saw a reason to. We were happy, or so I thought. My lawyer and I crafted a prenup that listed my disclosed assets at $8 million. This was technically true, my consulting business and liquid accounts held about that much. The rest of my wealth was in trusts, LLCs, investments, and real estate holdings that weren't directly in my name. The prenup was fair, even generous. In the event of a divorce, Victoria would receive $500,000 upfront, plus $50,000 for every year of marriage. She'd keep all gifts, jewelry, and personal items. For a marriage to someone worth $8 million, this was actually a really good deal. I brought it up one night over dinner at her favorite restaurant. Victoria, my lawyer suggested we do a prenup. Just to protect both of us going forward. I expected resistance. Hurt feelings. Maybe an argument about trust. Instead, her face lit up. "Oh, absolutely," she said, a little too enthusiastically. "I think that's so smart. We should definitely both be protected." I was surprised by her reaction. Most people don't get excited about prenups. "Great," I said. "I'll have my lawyer draw something up. You can have your own lawyer review it, of course. I'll cover the legal fees." "Perfect," she said, smiling. "I'm so glad we're on the same page about this." Before I tell you what happened next, if you're enjoying this story and want to hear more real-life revenge and karma stories like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what happens when Victoria realizes what she just signed away. We scheduled a meeting with both lawyers for the following week. What I didn't know at the time was that Victoria had done something before we even got engaged. She'd hired a private investigator to check me out. I only learned this later, during the divorce proceedings. But it explains everything that happened next. Her PI had reported back, Darius Thompson appears to have a net worth of approximately $5 to $10 million. He runs a successful consulting business, has some investments, lives comfortably but not extravagantly. No red flags. No hidden debts. Clean background. This was accurate based on what was publicly visible. The PI had no way of knowing about the $850 million tech company sale because it had been a private transaction, and I'd structured everything through holding companies. So when Victoria saw the prenup listing my net worth at $8 million, she thought I was being honest. Maybe even slightly generous with the estimate. What I didn't realize was that Victoria was disappointed. She'd hoped to marry rich. Really rich. Tech CEO rich. Hedge fund manager rich. Instead, she was marrying comfortable. Upper middle class rich. Nice but not extravagant rich. She'd convinced herself that $8 million was good enough. That she could push me to make more money. That my consulting businesses had growth potential. She was settling. And she knew it. But $8 million was better than nothing. So she said yes to the engagement, yes to the wedding, and yes to the prenup. Looking back now, all the signs were there. I just didn't want to see them. The day we signed the prenup was a Tuesday morning in April. 2 months before our wedding. We met at my lawyer's office. Victoria brought her attorney, a sharp woman in her 50s named Rebecca who specialized in family law. As customary, I paid for Victoria's legal representation. The meeting lasted about 90 minutes. Both lawyers walked us through every clause, every provision, every scenario. Mr. Thompson's assets are valued at approximately $8 million, my lawyer stated. These assets include his consulting business, investment accounts, and personal property. In the event of divorce, Ms. Victoria Hayes will receive $500,000 as a base settlement, plus an additional $50,000 for each year of marriage. Victoria's lawyer reviewed the documents carefully. She asked clarifying questions, made a few notes, then turned to Victoria. "This is a very fair agreement," Rebecca said. "Actually, I'd say it's generous. The base settlement alone is substantial, and the annual increment is quite good. You'll also retain all personal gifts, jewelry, and items purchased during the marriage. I'd recommend you sign this." Victoria nodded. "It seems fair to me too." We both signed. Multiple copies. Initialed every page. Made it official. My lawyer stepped out to make copies and get everything notarized. That's when it happened. Victoria's lawyer, Rebecca, gathered her things and said her goodbyes. My lawyer was still in the copy room. Victoria and I were alone in the conference room. She stood up, stretched, and that's when she noticed it. A bottle of champagne sitting in an ice bucket on the credenza. My lawyer had brought it to celebrate the signing, as was his tradition with big contracts. Victoria's eyes lit up. Oh my God, champagne! Perfect! She grabbed the bottle, popped the cork with a laugh, and poured 2 glasses. Cheers to protecting our individual assets, she said, clinking her glass against mine. There was something in her voice. A lightness. Almost relief. You know, Darius, she said, taking a sip, I'm so glad we're doing this. It means we're both going into this marriage with our eyes wide open. No surprises. No hidden expectations. She leaned against the table, swirling her champagne. And honestly, she lowered her voice, even though we were alone. I make my own money from Instagram. My sponsorships, my brand deals. I'm building my own thing. I don't need your money. The way she said it. The emphasis on your money. Like it was something to be kept separate. Something that might not be enough anyway. I just want you to know, she continued, that I'm marrying you for you. Not for your consulting business or your investments or whatever. Just you. It should have been romantic. It should have been reassuring. But something about it felt off. Then she did something that should have been a massive red flag. She pulled out her phone, held up her champagne glass, and took a selfie. The prenup documents were visible on the table behind her. She typed out a caption, adulting. Champagne glasses prenup signed and sealed. Smart couple vibes. #modern love #smart couple #prenup done. She posted it to her Instagram story. I felt something twist in my gut. But I pushed it down. Told myself I was being paranoid. My lawyer came back with the notarized copies. We wrapped up the meeting. Victoria and I left together, walked to a nearby cafe for lunch. Over salads, Victoria was in a great mood. Almost giddy. I feel so much better now that that's done, she said. Now we can just focus on the wedding without any weirdness hanging over us. What weirdness? I asked. You know, the money stuff. Like, who has what, who's entitled to what if things don't work out. It's just better to have it all spelled out clearly. You really think things might not work out? I asked, half joking. No, of course not, she said quickly. But statistics are statistics, right? 50% of marriages end in divorce. It's just smart to be prepared. The way she said it was so casual. So matter-of-fact. Like she was discussing a business merger, not our marriage. I should have seen it then. But love makes you blind. Or stupid. Or both. Over the next 2 months leading up to the wedding, I noticed more things. Victoria's spending increased dramatically. Designer shopping sprees. Expensive dinners with her influencer friends. A new Louis Vuitton bag every few weeks. When I gently mentioned that maybe we should be more careful with money before the wedding, she waved me off. I'm using my own money, Darius. My Instagram income is really good right now. Don't worry about it. But I saw the credit card statements. She was spending way more than she was earning. I didn't push it. Didn't want to start our marriage with arguments about money. Another mistake. Our wedding was in June. Beautiful venue, 200 guests, everything you'd expect from a high-end wedding. But I noticed Victoria's attitude throughout the planning process. She was constantly comparing. Constantly referencing her friends' weddings. Jennifer's wedding had a live band and a DJ. Can we do that? Sarah's wedding was featured in Martha Stewart weddings. I wonder if we could get coverage. Madison's husband flew everyone to Tuscany for a week. Do you think we could do a destination wedding instead? I tried to give her everything she wanted within reason. But within reason for someone I was pretending was worth $8 million was different than what I could have actually afforded. The wedding cost about $150,000. Beautiful, elegant, memorable. But Victoria's friend Sarah's wedding had cost $800,000. Jennifer's was over $1 million. And I could see Victoria doing the math. Comparing. Finding her wedding lacking. At the reception, I watched her with her influencer friends. They were all dressed immaculately, dripping in jewelry, talking about their latest purchases and trips. One of them, Madison, had just gotten back from 3 weeks in the Maldives. Her husband was a hedge fund manager. The overwater bungalow was absolutely insane, Madison was saying. $5,000 a night, but totally worth it. Tyler said we're going back next year for our anniversary. Victoria's smile was tight. That sounds amazing. Where are you guys honeymooning? Another friend asked. Bora Bora, Victoria said. 2 weeks. Oh, lovely. Madison said, in a tone that clearly meant how quaint. Bora Bora was beautiful. Our honeymoon package was $30,000 for 2 weeks. To most people, that's incredibly extravagant. But to Victoria's circle, it was modest. I saw it in her face. That same flash of disappointment I'd seen when I proposed. But the wedding was beautiful. Everyone had a great time. We danced, we laughed, we celebrated. And for a moment, I let myself believe that everything would be okay. If you're thinking this story is going exactly where you think it's going, stick around. Because the way Victoria reacts when she discovers the truth is absolutely priceless. And if you haven't already, smash that like button to help this story reach more people who need to hear it. The honeymoon in Bora Bora was beautiful. Crystal clear water, overwater bungalow, private beach, incredible sunsets. But Victoria spent half of it on her phone. Posting Instagram stories. Curating the perfect shots. Making sure her followers saw that she was living the dream. And constantly checking what her friends were posting. Madison posted from a yacht in Greece. Sarah was at a private villa in Positano. Jennifer was shopping in Paris. I watched Victoria's face as she scrolled through their posts. The barely concealed envy. One night, as we watched the sunset from our bungalow, Victoria said something that stuck with me. You know, Darius, I think after the honeymoon we should really think about your business strategy. There's so much potential for growth in the consulting space. You could really scale up. I'm happy where I am, I said. The business provides well. We're comfortable. Comfortable, she repeated. Like the word tasted bad. Yeah. Comfortable. We flew home 2 weeks later. Moved into my penthouse, which Victoria had been slowly redecorating even before the wedding. It was a nice place. 3,000 square feet, floor-to-ceiling windows, modern kitchen, great view of the city. But the first thing Victoria said when we got back was, you know, we should really think about upgrading. Sarah and her husband just bought a place in Tribeca. 5,000 square feet, 2 floors, incredible views. We should look at something like that. This place is plenty of space for us, I said. For now, Victoria said. But if we're going to start a family eventually, we'll need more room. And honestly, Darius, location matters. This neighborhood is fine, but Tribeca or the Upper West Side would be so much better for our image. Our image. Not our comfort. Not our needs. Our image. That should have been a clue. The first month of marriage was okay. We were adjusting to living together full time. Learning each other's habits. Playing house. But by month 2, the comments started. Darius, I've been thinking. You should really consider expanding your consulting business. Maybe hire some associates. Scale up. You could probably double or triple your revenue. I like keeping it small, I said. More personal. Better work-life balance. But that's leaving so much money on the table, Victoria insisted. Why wouldn't you want to grow? Or, my friend Madison's husband just started a crypto investment fund. He made $10 million in the first quarter. Have you thought about getting into crypto? Or, Jennifer's husband bought 3 rental properties this year as an investment. They're making passive income. We should do that too. Every conversation somehow came back to money. To what I should be doing to make more of it. It was like living with a financial advisor who was constantly disappointed in my portfolio. One night, about 3 months into the marriage, I came home from a meeting to find Victoria on the couch, scrolling through her phone. "Hey babe," I said, kissing her forehead. "Good day." "Fine," she said, not looking up. I noticed she was looking at real estate listings. "House hunting?" I asked. "Just looking," she said. Madison and Tyler just closed on a beach house in the Hamptons. $8 million. It's gorgeous. She showed me her phone. It was gorgeous. It was also completely unnecessary. "That's great for them," I said carefully. "Don't you ever want that?" Victoria asked. "A beach house. Multiple properties. Real wealth." "I thought we had real wealth," I said. "We're doing well." "We're doing fine," Victoria corrected. "There's a difference between fine and great, Darius. All my friends are married to men who are killing it. And you're just coasting." The word coasting hung in the air. "I provide a good life for us," I said, keeping my voice level. "Good." "Yes. Good." Victoria set down her phone and looked at me. "But good isn't great." "And honestly? I didn't sign up for just good." Month 3 of marriage, Victoria's spending reached a new level. Designer shopping bags appeared in our closet daily. Chanel, Gucci, Prada, Hermes. New jewelry. New shoes. New handbags. I started reviewing our credit card statements. In 3 months, Victoria had spent over $80,000. She was making about $200,000 a year from Instagram. She was spending way beyond her means. One evening, I sat her down. "Victoria, we need to talk about the spending." She immediately got defensive. "It's my money. I earned it." "I understand that. But you spent $80,000 in 3 months. That's not sustainable." "Maybe if you made more money, I wouldn't have to worry about budgets," she snapped. I blinked. "Excuse me." "You heard me." Victoria stood up, pacing. "All my friends' husbands are crushing it. Madison's husband made $10 million last year. Jennifer's husband just got promoted to partner at his firm. Sarah's husband founded a startup that just got $50 million in funding." She turned to face me. "And you're just sitting there with your little consulting business, happy with your $8 million net worth, not trying to grow or expand or do anything ambitious." "I'm happy with our life," I said quietly. "Well, I'm not." Victoria's voice rose. "Good isn't great, Darius. I didn't sign up for just good. I signed up for a life. A real life. The kind of life my friends have." There it was. The truth. Laid bare. I wasn't enough. My life wasn't enough. Because I wasn't worth as much as her friends' husbands. "I see," I said. "Do you?" Victoria crossed her arms. "Because I feel like I'm the only one in this marriage who has ambition. Who wants more?" "Maybe you married the wrong person then," I said. Victoria's eyes widened. For a moment, she looked scared. Like she'd gone too far. "I didn't mean it like that," she said quickly. I want us to have more. Don't you want that?" "I want you to be happy," I said. "But I can't change who I am." Victoria sighed. "I know. I need to adjust my expectations, I guess." Adjust her expectations. Like I was a disappointing purchase she'd learned to live with. That night, lying in bed next to my wife of 3 months, I made a decision. It was time for Victoria to learn the truth. Not because I wanted to save the marriage. But because I wanted to see her face when she realized exactly what she'd been complaining about. The final straw came a few days later. Victoria and I were having dinner with Madison and her husband Tyler. Tyler was the hedge fund manager. He spent the entire dinner talking about his latest deals, his returns, his strategy. Victoria hung on every word. After dinner, as we drove home, Victoria was quiet. Finally, she said, "Tyler is so impressive. Did you hear about that arbitrage opportunity he exploited? Made $3 million in a week." "I heard," I said. "You could do something like that," Victoria said. "If you just applied yourself. Thought bigger. Took some risks." "I'm not a hedge fund manager," I said. "I'm a consultant." "You could be more," Victoria insisted. "You're smart. You're capable. You're just not trying." I pulled the car over. We were 2 blocks from our building. "Victoria," I said. "I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest." "Okay." "If I were worth $100 million instead of $8 million, would you be happier?" Victoria hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. "That's not a fair question," she finally said. "It's a yes or no question. It's more complicated than that." "No," I said. "It really isn't." Victoria looked out the window. "I just think you have potential you're not living up to. That's all. Because $8 million isn't enough." "I didn't say that." "You didn't have to." We drove the rest of the way home in silence. That night, I called my lawyer. "I need you to prepare something for me," I said. "A full financial disclosure. Every asset. Every investment. Every property. The real numbers." "Are you sure?" my lawyer asked. "Once you disclose." "I'm sure," I said. It's time she knew the truth. "When do you want to tell her?" "There's a charity gala next week. The one where we met. I'm receiving an award. The Lifetime Philanthropic Achievement Award," my lawyer said. "Darius, that's public. They're going to announce your donation history." "I know," I said. "That's the point. Oh man, this is where it gets really good. If you're loving the karma in this story, do me a favor and drop a comment below with your favorite emoji. And hit that share button to spread this story to anyone who's ever dealt with a gold digger." The charity gala was in 1 week. The same event where Victoria and I had met 18 months ago. This year, the organization was publicly honoring their top donors. And I was receiving the Lifetime Philanthropic Achievement Award. What Victoria didn't know was that over the past 5 years, I donated over $100 million to various causes. Education initiatives. Healthcare programs. Technology access for underprivileged communities. Scholarship funds. All of it had been anonymous. Until now. The organization had asked if they could finally reveal my identity and donation history. I'd agreed. My lawyer prepared a complete financial disclosure packet. Every asset. Every holding. Every investment. The tech company sale. The trust funds. The real estate holdings under LLCs. Everything. Total disclosed net worth, $750 million. I had the documents couriered to our apartment. Put them in my desk drawer. Waited. On Tuesday, I mentioned the gala to Victoria over breakfast. "Hey, so there's that charity gala this Saturday. The one where we met. We're invited." Victoria looked up from her phone. "Oh. Do we have to go?" "Those things are so boring." "I'd really like you to come," I said. "It's important to me." She sighed. "Fine. But I'll need a new dress. I can't wear something I've already posted on Instagram." "Of course," I said. Victoria spent the next few days shopping for the perfect dress. She settled on a $4,000 gown. Put it on her credit card. Didn't ask if I thought she should spend that much. Because she'd already decided I didn't make enough money for my opinion on spending to matter. Saturday evening arrived. Victoria looked stunning in her new dress. I wore a tailored Tom Ford tux. We arrived at the gala venue, the grand ballroom of the Plaza Hotel. The same room where we'd met. Victoria immediately spotted her influencer friends. "Oh God, they're all here," she muttered. "Madison, Jennifer, Sarah. Perfect. They always make these things so competitive." We checked in, were directed to our table. Victoria looked at our table number, then scanned the room. "Of course," she said. "We're at table 15. Madison and Tyler are at table 3. That's like, right by the stage." "Does it matter?" I asked. "It matters for the photos," Victoria said. "The closer you are to the stage, the better the Instagram shots." We sat down. Victoria was texting, scrolling, comparing herself to her friends who were posting from their tables. The event began. Cocktails. Mingling. Dinner. Victoria barely spoke to me. She was too busy checking what everyone else was posting. Finally, the program began. The lights dimmed. A spotlight hit the stage. The MC, a well-known local news anchor, stepped up to the microphone. "Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for being here tonight. We have a special evening planned, honoring some truly exceptional individuals who have changed lives through their generosity." The MC continued, "Tonight, we're presenting our Lifetime Philanthropic Achievement Award. This award is reserved for individuals who have donated in excess of $100 million to charitable causes." Victoria was scrolling through her phone, barely paying attention. This year's recipient has transformed communities through education, healthcare, and technology initiatives. Over the past 5 years, this individual has funded 50 full-ride college scholarships, built 3 community health clinics, and provided technology access to over 10,000 underprivileged students. A few people at our table glanced around, wondering who it could be. This person has done all of this anonymously. Until tonight. Tonight, we finally get to honor them publicly for their extraordinary generosity and vision. Victoria was still on her phone. "Ladies and gentlemen," the MC said, "it is my absolute honor to present the Lifetime Philanthropic Achievement Award to Darius Thompson." The spotlight swung across the room. Landed on our table. On me. Victoria's phone slipped from her hand. Her champagne glass stopped halfway to her mouth. Her face went completely white. "Wait," she whispered. "What?" I stood up. Straightened my tie. Buttoned my jacket. "Darius?" Victoria's voice was barely audible. "What's happening?" I looked down at her. Her face was a mixture of confusion and dawning horror. "I'll be right back," I said calmly. I walked to the stage. Every step, I could feel 500 pairs of eyes on me. The room erupted in applause. I reached the stage, shook the MC's hand, accepted the Crystal Award. "Darius Thompson, everyone," the MC announced. Over $100 million in charitable contributions. A true visionary and philanthropist. More applause. Standing ovation. I glanced at our table. Victoria was frozen. Literally frozen. Mouth open. Face pale. Staring at me like I was a stranger. At the tables near her, her influencer friends were turning to each other, whispering, pulling out their phones to Google me. "Mr. Thompson," the MC said, "would you like to say a few words?" I took the microphone. "Thank you. This is unexpected," I paused. "Actually, that's not true. I knew this was happening. My wife didn't, though." Polite laughter from the crowd. "I've spent the last 5 years giving anonymously because I believe in the work, not the recognition. But I'm accepting this honor tonight because I want to encourage others who have the means to give back. To invest in communities. To change lives." More applause. "Thank you again for this honor. And thank you to the organization for the incredible work you do." I left the stage. Walked back to our table. Victoria hadn't moved. She looked like she was in shock. I sat down next to her. "Darius," she whispered. How is this possible? You donated $100 million. "A little more than that," I said. "About $120 million over 5 years. But how? The prenup said you're worth $8 million. The prenup listed the assets in my consulting business. About $8 million in liquid assets and business value. That part was accurate. Then where did $120 million come from? I took a sip of my champagne. Maybe we should discuss this at home. We left the gala 30 minutes later. Victoria insisted. She was in complete shock. Couldn't speak. Couldn't process. Her influencer friends had swarmed her after my speech, asking questions, taking photos with me, suddenly treating me like I was important. Madison, the one whose hedge fund manager husband had made $10 million last year? She'd pulled Victoria aside and whispered loudly enough for me to hear, "Girl, you never mentioned your husband was that Darius Thompson." Victoria had no idea what that meant. In the car ride home, she was silent. Just staring out the window. I could see her mind racing. Trying to put pieces together. Finally, as we pulled up to our building, she said, "I need you to explain everything. Right now." "Let's go inside," I said. We rode the elevator in silence. Walked into our penthouse. Victoria immediately kicked off her heels, turned to face me. "Talk," she said. "Now." I loosened my tie. Poured myself a scotch. Offered her one. She shook her head. 10 years ago, I started a software company. Built it from nothing. Worked 80-hour weeks. Slept in my office. Gave up everything to make it work. Victoria was listening, but I could see she was impatient. 3 years ago, right before we met, a major tech corporation approached me. They wanted to acquire my company. After months of negotiations, we settled on a price. "How much?" Victoria's voice was barely above a whisper. $850 million, I said. Victoria's legs gave out. She actually stumbled backward and sat down hard on the couch. After taxes, I continued, I netted about $750 million. I put most of it in trusts, investments, real estate holdings. Kept it quiet. Lived modestly. Started doing some consulting work, more as a hobby than anything else. But the prenup. Victoria's voice was shaking. Listed the assets in my consulting business. Which is true. That business is worth about $8 million. The prenup didn't include my other holdings because they're in separate trusts and LLCs. Technically, they weren't part of my disclosed marital assets. "You lied to me." Victoria stood up, her voice rising. "I never lied," I said calmly. "I never told you about the tech company. But you never asked. You assumed. You had a private investigator check me out. Yes, I know about that, and you accepted his findings." Victoria's face went even paler. "How did you?" "I found the Pies report during the divorce document preparation. Your lawyer had it in your file." "Divorce?" Victoria's voice cracked. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out the financial disclosure packet from my briefcase. Set it on the coffee table. These are my complete financial disclosures. Every asset. Every investment. Every property. Everything I own. Victoria grabbed the packet with shaking hands. Started flipping through pages. Her eyes got wider with each page. This says you own 6 properties. In New York, Los Angeles, Miami. This says you have $300 million in investment accounts. Diversified portfolio. Tech stocks mostly. This says you own 15% of 3 different startups. I'm an angel investor. I like supporting new entrepreneurs. Victoria looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. "Darius, you're worth $750 million. And you let me think, you let me believe that I was worth $8 million, I finished." "Yes." Victoria dropped to her knees. Actually dropped to her knees on our living room floor. "Darius, please. I'm so sorry. I was wrong. I was so wrong about everything." She was sobbing now. Makeup running. Hands clasped together. "I love you. I married you because I love you. The money doesn't matter. Stop, I said quietly. No, please, listen to me. Victoria, I said, my voice harder now. Do you remember what you said to me last week? When we were fighting about money. She looked confused through her tears. I pulled out my phone. Played a voice memo I'd recorded. Her voice filled the room. Maybe if you made more money, I wouldn't have to worry about budgets. Then, good isn't great, Darius. I didn't sign up for just good. Victoria's face crumpled. I didn't mean it, she whispered. I was just frustrated. I didn't. You meant every word, I said. And you know what? You were right about one thing. You didn't sign up for good. You signed up for $8 million. And that's exactly what the prenup says you get. Victoria's eyes widened. No. No, we can tear up the prenup. We can start over. I don't care about the money. Now you don't care, I said. Now that you know it's $750 million instead of $8 million. But for the past 4 months, you've made it very clear that $8 million wasn't enough for you. Darius, please. Do you remember the day we signed the prenup? Do you remember what you did? Victoria was crying too hard to answer. You popped champagne. You celebrated. You posted it on Instagram. You were so happy to have your assets protected from my supposedly modest $8 million. I pulled up her Instagram story from that day. Showed her the screenshot I'd saved. Her face, champagne glass raised, big smile. Caption, adulting. Champagne glasses prenup signed and sealed. Smart couple vibes. You were relieved, I said. Relieved that you wouldn't have to share my money. Relieved that your influencer career income was safe from my apparently mediocre success. Victoria was shaking her head. That's not what I meant. It's exactly what you meant. I handed Victoria an envelope. What is this? She asked, hands trembling. Divorce papers, I said. I'm filing tomorrow. Grounds of irreconcilable differences. No, Darius, please. The prenup is ironclad. You had your own lawyer. You celebrated signing it. It's enforceable. I don't want the money. Victoria screamed. I want you. No, I said quietly. You want $750 million. You just didn't know you had it. I did the math for her. The prenup says you get $500,000 base settlement, plus $50,000 per year of marriage. We've been married for months. That's roughly $17,000 for the 4 months. Your total settlement, $517,000. Out of $750 million. That's 0.069% of my net worth. Victoria made a sound like a wounded animal. You could have had everything, I said. If you'd just loved me for me. If you'd been happy with our life. If $8 million had been enough. But it wasn't. You wanted more. You wanted what your friends had. You wanted to keep up with Madison and Jennifer and Sarah. Well, congratulations, Victoria. You can tell them you were married to a man worth $750 million. And you walked away with $500,000. I picked up my briefcase. I'm staying at my place in Soho tonight. I'll have movers come for my things this week. The penthouse is mine, it's in one of my LLCs, but you can stay for 30 days while you find a place. Darius, please. Goodbye, Victoria. I walked out of that penthouse and didn't look back. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. Victoria got her $517,000. She tried to contest the prenup, claiming fraud and misrepresentation. Her lawyer argued that I'd hidden assets and deliberately deceived her. My lawyer demolished that argument. The prenup specifically stated it covered my consulting business assets. It never claimed to be a comprehensive disclosure of all assets. Victoria had her own lawyer review it. She'd celebrated signing it. The judge upheld the prenup. Victoria got exactly what she agreed to. Last I heard, she's still on Instagram. still posting about fashion and lifestyle. But the luxury brand sponsorships dried up after the divorce when it became clear she wasn't married to money anymore. Her follower count dropped. The engagement went down. Turns out, people were following her for the lifestyle she was living as my wife, not for her personality. She reached out a few times. Long apologetic texts. Emails. Even showed up at one of my properties once. I never responded. As for me? I'm doing well. Better than well. About 8 months after the divorce, I met someone. Her name is Dr. Nicole Chen. She's a professor of African American history at Columbia. We met at a bookstore. I was browsing the history section. She recommended a book. We started talking. I asked her to coffee. We dated for 8 months before she found out about my wealth. And you know how she reacted? She shrugged. That's nice, she said. Now, can we get back to discussing the book I recommended? We've been together for 2 years now. I've never been happier. Nicole doesn't care about my money. She makes $150,000 a year as a tenured professor and she's perfectly content with that. She drives a used Honda. Wears clothes from Target. Her idea of a luxury vacation is going to the library. She's brilliant, kind, funny, and completely unimpressed by wealth. That's how I knew she was the one. Victoria taught me a valuable lesson. It cost her $749 million to teach it, but I learned it well. The right person doesn't care how much you have. They care about who you are. They don't celebrate signing a prenup. They don't compare you to their friends' husbands. They don't push you to make more money so they can buy more things. The right person just wants you. Victoria wanted the life she thought money would give her. Nicole wants the life we build together. That's the difference. And that's why Victoria is alone, spending her $517,000 on designer bags that won't make her happy. And I'm planning to propose to Nicole next month. With a ring that costs exactly what she'll appreciate, something meaningful and beautiful, not something to post on Instagram. Some people say I was cruel. That I should have told Victoria the truth from the beginning. Maybe they're right. But I think Victoria showed me exactly who she was. And I'm grateful for that. Because now I know what real love looks like. And it's not measured in dollars. The end. If you enjoyed this story of karma and gold digger justice, make sure you're subscribed to this channel because I post stories like this every week. Real stories. Real revenge. Real karma. Drop a comment below telling me, do you think Darius was wrong for not telling Victoria about his wealth from the beginning? Or did Victoria get exactly what she deserved? And if you know someone who needs to hear this story, someone dealing with a gold digger, or someone who needs a reminder about what really matters in relationships, share this video with them. Hit that like button if you think $517,000 out of $750 million is the perfect karma. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next story.